Hey everybody, Racer52 here. I've got a few videos coming up featuring this amplifier, Leban 23. If you think you might be interested in seeing the outsides and insides and drawing a fresh new schematic from what we find on the inside, if that sounds interesting to you, stick around. There's a lot to come covering this Leban 23 amplifier, which I believe is from the early 1960s. This is a small amplifier. I believe it's from the 60s. If somebody that sees this video knows what this is, it's a Leban 23. I have not been able to find anything about this thing online. It's a real small amplifier. It's got a plastic strap to carry it by, and the strap can be unsnapped and extended and made into a little bit longer carry handle. The control panel is actually on the back of it, and here we can see it's got an indicator light that's labeled PI. It's got an on-off switch and volume all in one. And I have not turned this thing on yet. I thought I'd wait to do the video to do that. It's got two instrument jacks. It says here made in Japan. I don't know if that'll pick that up or not. Made in Japan. Okay, so it's a lightweight cabinet. It's made out of ply. It's a tube amplifier. We can see up inside of here it's got an oval shaped speaker, and then up inside the, I'll take the camera off and do a handheld. The case is a little trapezoidal shaped. It's about a little over 4 inches at the bottom and then kind of tapers up with a slant back. It's in pretty good shape, just a couple little nicks here and there on it. This Tolex is some very lightweight stuff, and that is the thickness right there of the plywood. So what we're going to do with this is, thought maybe I'd power it up on the Variac and see what happens with that. If I take the back panel off, maybe we'll get a better view inside of there. Doesn't feel like it's going through a machined surface. Okay. Well, there we can see the Tolex nicely fit, but it's a very light plywood. It feels very fragile. If I could snap it very easily if I tried. So there's the back panels off, and that doesn't reveal very much. So the framing looks like the chassis is still covering up the insides, but we can see here, I haven't had this plugged in at all since I bought it, but I still don't trust it. Filter capacitor can, looks like it's 40 microfarads times 2 of them. Looks like a, here's the power cord. It looks like a really small input transformer right there. Unless that's the, that's probably the output transformer. Let's see. Yeah, it is. There's the wires to the speaker going down here. Let's get this out of the way. I need to come with better lighting. Anyway, there's a green and white speaker wire, and that's coming off of right up in here. So that's the output transformer. And down on the floor of the cabinet is the input transformer with all the different winding taps. And then we can see some tubes and I have looked at the tubes to see what they were. These two tubes, they're kind of weird little deals. They're a 6AV6, and that's printed right there on the tube. And a 6AV6, well, I drew my tube square, but it has a triode segment and two diodes in it. So I'm wondering if this is going to be part of the rectification circuit as well. And a cathode that's just on one pin, pin 2, for all of them. And then heater element just coming in on 2 pins, 3 and 4, and heating either different sections of this cathode or the whole cathode. I'm not really sure on how this thing is built, but it's listed as a dual diode and triode tube. So there's a little miniature 7-pin tube. That's what these are here. This one and this one. So certainly the input preamp, and so maybe even another amplifier gain stage. And then this other larger tube is this thing right here. Let's see if we get that facing you. And this is a 30A5 made by Matsushita, and they're calling it a power pentode. It has a maximum plate voltage of 150 volts, and the book says typical voltage on the plate is going to be 100 volts. It's got some, well, it's a pentode, and it's also a miniature 7-pin, and we got the heater element on 3 and 4 on this one. Pin 1 is going to be the cathode. It's tied to another grid. That must be grid 3, G1. Well, they're calling this grid 3 for some reason. Cathode is G3. G1, G2, G3, I guess that's G4. But anyway, they're tied internally together. And then these, I have no idea how they're hooked up in the circuit yet. But so we got a cathode, grid, plate on pin 7. This diagram I found is the pin diagram, E71, and then the other two, the 6AV6s, they're a B7G. I'm not familiar with all this, but it is a 7-pin, and this defines how these pins are used for, like, if you're using a tube tester, I guess. In any case, another odd thing, this power pentode, which is maxed out at about 2 watts, it says the heater voltage is 30 volts according to the book, so that's going to be interesting. Have not found a schematic for this yet, so if anybody knows where there's a schematic for this, that would be helpful. The speaker inside, you can see, is an oval shaped speaker. It's driven by that coil there, that output transformer, and that there. So I'm kind of thinking, let's go ahead and fire this thing up and see if it blows up or if it makes some noise or what it does. So first thing first is I'm going to plug a multimeter into this box so I don't fry it, because my isolation transformer can actually step the voltage up to over 118 volts. So I'm going to put a meter on. Over here we got a meter going on here. This meter here, I'm going to put that puppy on voltage, and let's see, it's on auto. Let's go to function AC. So it's plugged in. I've already set up the probe for that. So this probe is actually connected into this line cord that's plugged into my overcurrent protection. So I'll be looking at the voltage that's actually being supplied to this little amplifier. We can plug the little amplifier in, then I don't have to touch that mess anymore. And then back behind here we have the isolation transformer. I got it turned down. We'll turn that on. That's providing power. This is the Variac. That's providing power up to my isolation transformer, and then my overcurrent protection circuit's plugged into that. So this is drawing power. This overcurrent is getting the power off of the isolation transformer. And right now we're sitting at about 0.6 volts coming out of the isolation transformer. And let's turn this on, and we'll put the volume about halfway. And let's see, let's bring up some voltage. So here we can see the that's 5.2 volts. Let's bring it up to about 30 volts and let it sit there for a moment or two. And let's see if anything's smoking out of this box here. So far nothing exciting. And I don't see any light coming out of my lamp back there. So let's go ahead and bring this up some more, and you'll be able to see that lamp light up. What are we hitting this here? That's my phone being charged. This is my cool little lamp up on top. Ooh, actually just putting some light in here. And let's get some more voltage. That's at 31. So let's see, we can see what we'll bring it in over here. Don't hear any noise yet. Here's I'll stop it up at about 60 volts. There's 55, 60 volts, 62 volts. And no smoke yet, no sparks. Can't tell if I hear anything yet, but that's kind of a low voltage, so we're going to bring this up, and like I said, we're monitoring what's actually powering this. But you know what? I don't see anything happening on old PI. So the power indicator, I'm hearing hum, and I see light. Alright, let it sit there for a moment. It's humming. It's at 90 volts. I don't know if you can hear the hum or not. It's definitely humming. And I can see glowing in the pentode and in both of the dual diode triodes. So something's happening. But I don't see any light. Let me shut this off. I don't see anything glowing on the indicator. But there's definitely something oh. Here we can see a little bit of a glow coming out of the bottom of the tube, so I don't know if you can see them there. Where's my stick? Alright, let's go up, bring it up. That's 90 volts. Let's bring it up to 120. 118. Looks like we're trying to pick up Radio Free Europe here. And the tubes are definitely got a nice little glow in there. You can let me shade it where you can see. Yeah, they're glowing. Well, that's exciting. There's some electrons jumping around in there. And the pot's kind of messy sounding. And it's definitely got a hum, even with the volume all the way down. Well, minimum. The hum seems to be getting a little louder with the power as you bring up the gain. Let's see if it's picking up anything from the input side here. Well, well, well. What I'm doing is I'm doing this. beautiful. I think it sounded different on this one here. Yeah, it kind of sounds a little more bassy on this one. So those two inputs have different tones. The indicator light's not lighting up at all, and a lot of Rice Krispies in there. Well, this is exciting. This little gadget I got from a guy who does these. He buys the contents of storage buildings, storage sheds, whatever. You know, those little rent-a-space kind of places. And well, that's exciting. It didn't blow up. Definitely needs a little cleaning. The next thing I'm going to do after this is clean it up. Oh, let's get a guitar and plug into that. Let's do that. Let me take this cord off of here and turn the volume down. The hum seems to be different at different places on the volume. It's like less hum there at about 2/3 or 1/3 volume, and here at almost off volume it's got more hum. There at half volume it's less hum. So might be just some shielding and grounding stuff going on that'll help get some of that out. But what I'd like to do is go ahead and get a guitar. Oh! The lamp just lit up. It woke up. I'll be right back with the guitar. Now, I'm not a guitar player. I just like guitars. I'm going to shut that off real quick so I'll plug it in. Alright, so there's something funky going on with that switch there, because as I'm messing with it, it's changing what's coming out of there. Oh yeah. Oh, it's like a little mini Marshall. Or one that doesn't always work. Alright, so we definitely got to clean that. Definitely need to clean that out. Oh, I like the way that distorts. I wonder what it sounds like on the other channel. Or the other input. Alright, well, the inputs work. That's good news. And alright, so the input works. A lot of noise on the volume knob, and the little tubes work, and tapping them didn't seem to make any noise either, so that, let's turn this up. Just hitting the box is that. So I think that, so the tubes might be pretty good. Well, that's exciting. I'm really excited about that. Let me get rid of this guitar. Like I said, I don't play guitar, I just have one because I like it. So that was pretty exciting. I'm going to have to clean that thing up. But for now, that's the introduction to this bad boy. I think we're going to bring the power down. That's turned off. Right, well, the light sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. So loose connections, new cord because I don't want to mess and touch that thing right now while it's plugged in. And get inside there. I'll there'll be another video with me taking this apart and cleaning it up and just checking some voltages in it. But for now, let's bring this puppy down. And oh, you know what? I've never really looked. The light didn't light up. I didn't see any indicator on my. I'm gonna bring it back up to 100. Yeah, the current protection circuit didn't light up at all. So that's nice. It didn't even glow. So this thing's drawing hardly nothing. Alright, so that's off. 0 volts. I can unplug this now. And I can shut my meter off. And that's going to be it for now. That's the if you know anything about these, or I'm probably going to have to draw a schematic, but if you happen to know where there is a schematic for this, try to get the camera going the right way. If you know where there's a schematic for a Leban, L-E-B-A-N 23, the only thing I found on the internet was another picture of one of these and a Leban, I think it was a 30 something, 32 or something, with 2 speakers. This one has 1 oval shaped speaker in it. So let's get some light back on the subject since we're done looking at those glowing tubes. There we go. So yeah, that's that. Hey, if you want to see in the book, this book didn't have, I had to go online to find one of those. I think it was the 30A5, the Pentode, I think. I forget which one, but let me see, 6AV6, 6A, I'm in the 6A section. Q, U, 6B, so I passed it. 6AU, 6AU, 6AV6. So here's a 6AV6, and their diagram is a little different than the one I found on the internet. But we can see here, bring the light back this way, the way they diagram it there. So I can use this information that's in this book here for the voltages to make sure it's not being overcooked, but I don't think it is. And here we can see in this picture that they're showing one cathode, and it's kind of like bent over, and it's supplying the diode section, and it's supplying the triode section off of the one cathode. Kind of a strange tube. Alright, so I thought I'd give you a close-up tour, kind of like the way Uncle Doug does. I like his stuff. So here's the cabinet up close, and we can see it's got a little bit of damage in the corners. Like I say, if anybody knows what this thing is, I mean, I know it's a Leban 23, but if anyone's familiar with it, there's a little bit of tearing on, and this Tolex is some really thin stuff. There's the screws that hold the input transformer, and so the bottom looks really clean. Another little corner tear down there, and then the sides look really good. This would be nice if it was a Marshall. Some rust on there, plastic strap, and the strap has a snap on it right here, and you can undo the snap and then re-snap it around itself, because there's another snap right there. So that snap and that snap, that end could fasten on the opposite side, make the handle longer. So this side here is also clean looking. This still has all the dirt and grime on it from when I got it from the fella. He bought it from some storage bin that he bought out. Alright, so here we see the rust on the screws. And the screws, I took the back panel off, and you can see they're just screwed right into the wood. So I imagine this is the same thing. And of course it's going to need a little cleaning up, some tender loving care there. Get inside of that. That's your instrument inputs. There's that crackly, noisy volume. And there's the light that decided to come on eventually. Alright, so let's take a look inside here. Don't get seasick on me. There we can see that speaker. Let's see if I can get this cord out of the way. It's a little oval speaker. And there's the wires that are going up to the output transformer, that green and yellow wire. And then here we can see the filter capacitors that may not be filtering all that great. 40 microfarad, two of them inside of that, so that's going to need some attention. That knob needs some attention. And here we can see the tubes, and they are actually in sockets that are mounted to a circuit board. You can see that down in there. The one power pentode, all 2.1 watts or something like that. Yeah, max 2.1 watts. So this is probably about a 1.5 watt amplifier. And these little weird tubes. I can't wait to see what the schematic has to offer when get in there and look at it and see if they're actually using those diodes that are in these 6AV6s. And then there's the humongous output, the input transformer. And here on the other side, on this side of the cabinet, you can see the grill wrapped around. You can see everything's made out of plywood and some light. I have no idea what this wood is. But it's nicely made. On this side here, you can see where there was some rodent activity at one time. And then I also noticed up in here, let's get the light right. I'm going to have to get it back into this and clean it up. But see up in the upper right corner up in there, there's a dead bug. But it's actually pretty clean. The floor, there was a dead bug down on the floor down there. Up at the front. So I don't know if this guy vacuumed it out or what. But overall I'm really pleased with this little gadget. So I'm looking forward to taking it apart and making it work maybe even better. Okay, so that's that. If you know anything about it, put it in the comment lines. And if not, when I take it apart, I'm going to try to draw up the schematic for it. Thanks for watching, and watch for the next one.